So if you're wanting to do what I did and move to Queensland or anywhere north in Australia because you're looking for like a slower, a bit cruisier, kind of a sunny lifestyle, well, this is what this video is about, because there's a few things that I want to share that you might want to know that I was a little bit surprised by when moving to the north of Australia. I'm in Airlie Beach specifically, but I'm sure it applies to anywhere where there's cyclones. Before I moved here, I thought I had a pretty good idea of what things would cost. I knew that things would be a little bit more expensive, but then there's some things that have really surprised me. Some things I thought would be more expensive were cheaper, and some things that I definitely thought were going to be way more expensive were not as expensive as I realized. So I realized I kind of had it a little bit wrong. I wish someone had a video like this that I could have watched back then. If you're curious about the real cost of living in Australia, no, in Queensland or North Queensland, well, you might be interested in this video. So one of the biggest surprises wasn't actually the house prices, because we're gonna research that all before we got here. But just like when you see the car price at the yard, there's always these little hidden surprises that you may not know about. So, you know, when you buy a car and the car might be priced at $29.99, and then you've got like stamp duty on that. You've also got, you've got to get insurance, you've got to get finance. Well, I guess a house is a little bit the same as well. So we actually had to pay stamp duty, which stamp duty here is a lot less than what it is in Victoria. I don't know exactly what the rates are, but I might pop it up here if it's somewhere available, because I'm definitely not interested in that again. But yeah, it's cheaper here than it is Victoria. I feel like Victoria is so expensive for stamp duty. There's stamp duty, but there's also council rates. Now here, I don't know if this is the same in other parts of Australia, and I don't recall this, but if you have an investment property, your rates are higher than what it is if someone who's owner occupying. Which is wild, because if you've just got the property sitting there vacant, wouldn't your rates be less because you're not using all the facilities? But anyway, I've heard here it's more expensive. I don't exactly know how more expensive, but I'm just going to tell you what ours are. I think ours were $5,800 for the year, which is crazy. Like, our property wasn't $1 million, but it wasn't $500,000. It was closer to the $1 million mark, but it needs a lot of work. The other thing that I noticed here is that they actually have in the rates, the water is included unless you go over a certain amount. So we've been told that we've had a bit of a leak, so we're going to get excessive usage of water. So that'll be interested to what that comes back at. But versus my property in Victoria, our rates I think were closer to $3,000. So the rates are almost double, which is crazy. But I knew that was going to happen because I don't know, I just feel like we live in a tourist town, and this town is so pretty, but I do feel that they should do more for the locals that live here. And I'll maybe touch on that at the end about the big four, that they put a lot of money into the town for the tourists, but I'm not a tourist, so. This next one is really funny because I feel like a lot of people told us about this, and that is insurance. You see at the start, I had so many people tell me, oh my gosh, your insurance is going to be insane. And I actually thought so too. I did some research and I'm thinking, oh my God, it's going to be like so expensive, like 20 grand or something like that. And it turns out it wasn't anywhere near as bad. So the research I did was that if the chance of having lethal, what's the word for it? I can't think the word for it, but like a severe weather event here in North Queensland, because we're in the cyclone area, is 10 times more likely than it is in Geelong. Now, we got this fire levy back when there was fires, and we all had to pay $900. I just don't know how the government gets away with that. It's just like crazy. Like, we already give you money. Why are we then also paying for a fire that we're not even a part of? And giving all those donations to the fireys at that time too, which was crazy. And I definitely agree that we should have good fire plans, but I just feel that they don't plan in advance in Victoria. They just won't let you burn off anything, and they don't get rid of the fuel that's on the ground. Anyway, that's beside the point. The point is that there's 10 times more chance of having a weather event here. So I figured, well, if the insurance at home is $250 a month, well, it's probably going to be a lot more than that. But anyway, it turns out that at home, our house was insured for, I think it was maybe 900 or $1 million. And here we've insured for the same sort of price, because whilst the house isn't worth that, to rebuild it, it would cost that much. And it's $446 here. So it's double, it's not 10 times the amount. So I reckon that we got off pretty lightly there. If you wouldn't mind, like if you've got house insurance, which I hope that you do have, can you put in the comments what your insurance is, where it is at, and what you might be valued at? And even if you don't want to write all that, just put how much it is per month or per annum. And I'll just be interested to see what other people's insurance is actually like. And you know what, after you've heard that, you're probably thinking, oh, well, everything is way more expensive in Queensland. And that's what I thought it would be like. But this was the other thing that really did surprise me. Do you want to come inside? And here's the thing, like, not every surprise has been a bad surprise. In fact, very rarely have things been a bad surprise. I've actually been pleasantly surprised in most cases. So because you think, well, I'm going to be moving to a tourist town, everything is going to be inflated, like you're remote, everything is going to be more. So instead of, you know, that battery costing $450, it's going to cost $500, because I remember back in Exmouth that things, and Darwin, like things had an extra postage charge on it, like because they charge you for the courier fee to get it up there, which is an interesting concept because I've never heard of that before. You definitely pay more in postage, but when you buy it from the shop, but of course they do have to pay for that to get there. So it makes very much sense. And then I thought, like back in Geelong, I feel like everything was just so expensive and it was really hard to get into. Like I remember taking Remy to the vet, or Mark did, and she had an ear infection and it cost $480 for them to check it out and give her some medication. And the first time I went to the vet here, it was like $130. I was like, okay, so crazy. The last time I went though, she had all her shots and all her things, and that was more like $470, I think. But that was for all. We also get, you've got to check for heartworm here and also ticks. So there's more diseases that they can actually get here. So I found that was, and also same with the cats. Like I took them to get, I took them as well, and they were cheaper. It was maybe $260 to get their injection or something like that. I also found that going to the hairdresser, and I don't pay full price normally at home because all my best friends are hairdressers, so I don't really pay normal price. But I do know that the hairdressers back home, like some of them are getting up to like $500, where I think to get my whole hair done, like from scratch, was closer to $300. I do feel like she's put her prices up now, which I do agree, because she's got a fabulous social media manager, which is me. And I do, living in a tourist town, I do agree that the food and the drinks are a little bit overpriced, but in some cases they're not. And this is why I built the Happy Hops app, because on that now I can see where all the good drinks deals are. You can download that if you want. It's in my profile. I'll put it in the profile. And that basically, if you know where the deals are, you'll go and get those deals. Well, you're not always having to, but for a glass of wine here is probably about $13 in most cases, and a schooner is usually over $10. But if you go for the happy hours, you can get them for $9 and like $6. So a palmy here is probably closer to $32. And again, they have palmy nights, so you want to sort of go on the palmy nights. So yeah, I feel like the food and the drink is a little bit more expensive here, but the supermarkets were pretty much the same, and now we actually have Aldi as well. So all those prices are the same, and the bus fares here are 50 cents. I feel like the taxis, everything's closer, so I feel like the taxis are a lot cheaper. But yeah, I do feel that it's apart from those two things that I said at the start, I feel everything else is a lot cheaper. And I am not like, the insurance should be at that price, because it's 10 times more likely. I mean, like we've already had a cyclone here, and I think it was a 3 that came, but a cyclone 5 can just like rip your house apart. So of course our insurance should be higher. And come to think of it though, my car insurance is $176 a month. And that's for my 200 series Cruiser, which is 2015. But I think it's insured for like quite a bit, because to replace it, it's not like 50 grand. It'd be more than that now. Oh, really? Have you got a very tough life? Have you? You do? I have to say though, it's so good for pets. Like I feel like everywhere here is pet friendly. Come on. Like everywhere you go, you can pretty much take your pet. It's so funny. Like not all the restaurants, but a lot of the pubs and the cafes, everyone's always got their dog. It's very dog friendly, isn't it? So would I move here knowing what I do now? Absolutely. I'm living in a tourist town, but it's cheaper than Geelong, and I'm living in the tropics, and it's just a much better environment for everybody. So I don't know, let me know in the comments what you think about the prices that I've said, and if they're comparable to where you live. Remy. Well, so anyway, I hope that's kind of cleared up a few things if you're thinking about moving somewhere in Australia, or to the north, or to Queensland, or to Early Beach. And if you're interested in more videos like this, I've actually got a bunch of them on my page, and I'm going to try and do more of them about Early Beach and, you know, my life here living in the tropics. So thanks so much for being here in my little corner of the internet, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Oh, if you wouldn't mind subscribing if you're new here, give me a hype. That's actually I think it's like a double heart. But yeah, let me know in the comments where you're watching from, and if you're curious because you're thinking about moving as well. Okay, bye.